Have you ever noticed how people reveal what they feel long before they ever say it directly? When emotions start to grow, words begin to change. Not in dramatic ways, but in subtle, almost unconscious shifts. This is especially true when a woman is developing feelings. Long before she says anything clear or obvious, her language starts carrying emotional signals that point to connection, trust, and attachment. Psychology has shown us again and again that language is more than information. It's emotional behavior. The words we choose, the phrases we repeat, and the way we frame our thoughts often reveal what our conscious mind hasn't fully accepted yet. Relationship researchers, including Dr. John Gottman, have found that everyday speech patterns are strong indicators of emotional investment. In simple terms, people show how much they care before they admit it, and if you listen closely, the signs are hard to miss. When a woman begins to feel something deeper, her communication shifts from surface level interaction to emotional signaling. She isn't just talking to pass time anymore. She's building connection, she's testing safety, she's slowly letting you into her emotional world. And often, she does this without realizing it. One of the earliest signs appears when she says something like, "I feel like I've known you forever." On the surface, this may sound casual, almost playful, but psychologically it carries a lot of weight. This phrase reflects emotional familiarity, not actual time spent together. It means she feels comfortable with you in a way that feels natural and effortless. Her nervous system relaxes around you. She isn't guarded, she doesn't feel the need to perform or impress. That sense of ease is one of the strongest foundations of attraction. Emotional safety plays a huge role here. When someone feels understood and accepted, the brain begins associating that person with warmth and trust. This creates a sense of bonding that feels almost timeless. So when she says she feels like she's known you forever, what she's really expressing is emotional alignment. You feel familiar to her in a way that bypasses logic. That's not small talk, that's emotional recognition. Another phrase that often gets misunderstood is when she says, "You're one of my closest friends," especially early on. Many people panic when they hear this, assuming it means attraction is off the table. But psychologically, the opposite is often true. Emotional closeness usually comes before romantic clarity, not after. When a woman places you in her inner circle quickly, it means she trusts you. Trust is not something people give lightly, especially when it comes to emotional matters. When she opens up to you, shares personal stories, talks about her fears or dreams, or confides things she doesn't share with others, she's investing emotionally. Calling you a close friend is her way of expressing safety and importance. It's not a wall, it's a doorway. She's saying you matter to her and she feels secure around you. That security is often what allows romantic feelings to grow without fear. As connection deepens, another phrase often appears: "You're so different from other guys I've met." This is a powerful indicator of selective attention. When emotional interest develops, the brain begins to separate one person from the rest. Differences become meaningful. Qualities that once blended into the background now stand out. When she says this, she's telling you that you don't feel interchangeable. You've stepped out of the category of everyone else and into a space of personal significance. This isn't about ego or comparison for the sake of flattery. It's about emotional distinction. She's noticing how you listen, how you respond, how you make her feel. And once the brain labels someone as different in a positive way, attachment starts forming more quickly. Her mind is quietly saying, "This person is worth paying attention to." Then there's a moment that often marks a deeper emotional shift. She says, "I feel like I can be myself around you." This sentence carries enormous psychological meaning. Most people spend a lot of energy managing how they're perceived. They filter their thoughts, hide their insecurities, and adjust their behavior to fit expectations. When someone feels safe enough to drop that mask, it means trust has taken root. Authenticity is a core human need. When a woman tells you she can be herself around you, she's telling you she doesn't feel judged. She doesn't feel pressure. She feels accepted. This kind of emotional comfort creates a powerful bond because it allows her nervous system to relax. And once someone associates you with emotional relief and self-expression, letting go becomes very difficult. You might notice she becomes more playful, more honest, more expressive. She might share things she's embarrassed about or show sides of herself she doesn't reveal to many people. These are not random behaviors. They are signs of emotional openness, and openness is one of the strongest predictors of developing feelings. As these moments accumulate, another phrase may emerge, one that sounds simple but carries deep meaning. "You make me feel seen and heard." Feeling heard is not just about listening, it's about emotional validation. It means she feels that her thoughts matter to you, that her experiences aren't dismissed or minimized. When a woman says this, she's expressing something rare. Many people hear words without truly understanding the emotions behind them. When you listen attentively, remember details, and respond with care rather than judgment or solutions, you create emotional resonance. Her brain begins to associate you with understanding and acceptance, two powerful drivers of attachment. At this point, the connection is no longer casual. Emotional investment is already happening, even if neither of you has labeled it yet. The language she uses is shifting because her internal experience is shifting. She feels safer, closer, and more emotionally aligned with you than she may realize. This is only the beginning of how emotions reveal themselves through words. There are deeper signals that appear as feelings grow stronger, and they often come with even more clarity and emotional weight. As emotional closeness continues to grow, her language begins to move from comfort into connection. This is where feelings start becoming more conscious, even if she hasn't fully admitted them to herself yet. The words she chooses now aren't just about trust or familiarity, they're about emotional alignment and shared meaning. One phrase that often appears at this stage is something like, I feel a deep connection with you. Like, this isn't casual interest and it's not just chemistry. When someone says this, they're describing emotional resonance. It means conversations feel meaningful, time together feels grounding, and there's a sense of emotional flow that doesn't require effort. Psychologically, this happens when two people feel emotionally in sync. They feel understood without having to over-explain. They feel accepted without having to prove themselves. When a woman expresses a deep connection, she's acknowledging that being around you affects her emotionally in a positive way. She may start referencing shared moments, past conversations, or things you've said that stayed with her. This shows that you're occupying mental and emotional space in her life. Her brain is beginning to associate you with emotional fulfillment, and that association strengthens attachment over time. Alongside this, you may hear her say, I can talk to you about anything. While this may sound similar to feeling connected, it reflects something slightly different and equally important. This is about emotional compatibility. It means she doesn't feel the need to filter herself. She trusts that you won't judge, dismiss, or misunderstand her, even when the topic is personal, confusing, or vulnerable. When someone feels this level of openness, it creates a sense of psychological safety that's hard to replace. She may start sharing thoughts randomly, texting you about small details of her day, or asking for your opinion on decisions that matter to her. These behaviors indicate that your presence feels stabilizing. You've become a place where she can mentally and emotionally land. This kind of openness is not accidental. It develops when a person feels consistently respected and emotionally held. Over time, that feeling grows into attachment because the mind starts to rely on the emotional comfort you provide. Another subtle but powerful signal appears when she begins to say things that reflect emotional awareness, such as, you really understand me, or you just get how I feel. This goes beyond listening. It means she feels emotionally recognized. Recognition is deeply bonding because it meets a core psychological need to be known without having to constantly explain oneself. When a woman feels understood at this level, her emotional defenses soften. She becomes more expressive, more honest, and more emotionally present. Her tone may change when she talks to you. There may be more warmth, more curiosity, and more emotional depth in her words. These shifts often happen gradually, but they're consistent. As attachment deepens, another phrase often emerges that signals emotional absence awareness. I miss you. What makes this significant is not just the words, but the timing. When someone expresses missing you after a short time apart, it shows emotional bonding. It means your presence has become emotionally meaningful enough that its absence is noticeable. Psychologically, missing someone is a sign that the brain has begun associating that person with comfort, pleasure, or emotional stability. When she says she misses you, she's revealing that you've become part of her emotional rhythm. You're no longer just someone she talks to. You're someone her emotions respond to. You may notice that she brings up future-oriented language around this time as well. Small comments about doing things together later, shared interests, or hypothetical scenarios. These aren't always direct plans, but they reflect mental inclusion. Her mind is starting to imagine you as part of her future experience, even if she hasn't labeled it as romantic yet. At this stage, the emotional bond is already active. Her words show that she feels safe, connected, understood, and emotionally engaged. She may not say, I like you outright, but emotionally, she's already leaning in that direction. There is one final shift in language that often acts as the clearest confirmation of developing feelings. It's subtle, but once you recognize it, it changes how you understand attraction and emotional intimacy. As feelings move from forming to solidifying, her language becomes more emotionally revealing, even if she still hasn't made a direct confession. At this stage, her words are no longer just signals of comfort or connection. They begin to reflect emotional reliance and attachment. One of the clearest phrases you may hear now is something like, I don't feel judged when I talk to you, or I feel safe telling you this. Safety is one of the strongest emotional drivers in human bonding. When someone feels emotionally safe, their nervous system relaxes, their defenses lower, and attachment deepens naturally. She's not just choosing you to talk to, she's choosing you as her emotional anchor. This is often when conversations become deeper and more frequent. She may reach out without a specific reason, simply because talking to you feels grounding. She may check in on you, remember small details about your life, or ask questions that show genuine care rather than curiosity. These behaviors reflect emotional prioritization. You matter to her inner world. Then comes a phrase that often slips out almost unconsciously. Something like, "You're the first person I wanted to tell," or "I thought of you when this happened." Psychologically, this is a major indicator of attachment. When something meaningful happens and her instinct is to share it with you, it means you've become emotionally central. Her experiences feel incomplete without your presence in some form. This is how emotional bonds quietly turn into emotional dependence, not in a harmful way, but in a deeply human one. She's integrating you into her emotional processing. Joy, stress, excitement, confusion, she wants you involved. That's not casual, that's connection with roots. You may also notice that her language starts including reassurance-seeking phrases such as asking how you feel about things, what you think of her ideas, or whether something she said made sense to you. This isn't insecurity, it's emotional investment. She cares about how she exists in your mind because your opinion now carries emotional weight. And then there is the most powerful phrase of all, the one that often confirms everything before any direct confession happens. It sounds simple, almost ordinary, but psychologically it says everything. She says something like, "I'm really glad you're in my life." This sentence may not sound dramatic, but it carries deep emotional meaning. It means your presence adds value to her emotional world. It means her life feels better, safer, or more meaningful with you in it. People don't say this unless they feel genuine emotional attachment. It's a quiet admission that you matter in a way that goes beyond convenience or habit. When a woman reaches this point, her emotions are no longer hypothetical, they are active. Her words show appreciation, emotional reliance, and inclusion. She may still be sorting through her feelings consciously, but subconsciously, she's already connected. What's important to understand is that these phrases don't work in isolation. It's the pattern that matters. Repeated emotional openness, trust, safety, and warmth in her language signal growing feelings. Attraction isn't always loud. Often, it's gentle, gradual, and revealed through everyday words spoken with emotional honesty. Listening carefully doesn't mean analyzing every sentence. It means paying attention to how she makes space for you emotionally. When her words consistently reflect comfort, trust, and connection, it's because something real is developing. Emotional awareness is not about control or manipulation. It's about understanding human behavior with empathy and respect. When you recognize these signs, the healthiest response is to stay present, genuine, and emotionally grounded yourself. Connection grows strongest when it's met with calm confidence and emotional consistency. If you followed through all three parts, you now understand how feelings often speak before they are declared. Words reveal what the heart is learning to admit. And when you learn to hear them clearly, attraction stops feeling confusing and starts making sense.